calls, or if we fail 446.8. Okay. So just below pre-market low, just in case it does something like that, just in case it bounces aggressively. So then NVIDIA, really all I have on this is upside. I want to watch for a breakout of the pre-market low, essentially. I typed out 190.2, but it's basically just the pre-market low. Or I'm sorry, pre-market high, the green dotted line. That's what I'm wanting to take a breakout of. Now, we do want to be aware of this previous, look at this. You see where pre-market high is lining up with? If I draw this out. We got obviously blew past it on Friday, but you can see on Monday, we did a break and retest of this level quite nicely. It rejected this area pretty nicely. So we do want to keep that in mind. The closer we get to 190.58, there's a possibility we reject that range. Now, this is something to keep in mind as it comes along with NQ as well. Let's say this pushes up a little bit. Let's say it pushes up to 626. NVIDIA pushes up to 190.5. What we're relying on is a lot of volume to actually break through that level. So if you don't get the volume, then you might see that little dump, right? It might hit that level and start to pull back. Just something you want to keep in mind, okay, as we're approaching the setup. And then the last thing I got on watch is Meta. Meta, I really, really like this level combined with the pre-market high, the 660 area. We can see it was kind of a nasty point of contingency throughout the week. So I'm a big fan only really of upside on Meta. I don't have much downside. I do see the pre-market low being appealing for sure, but I cannot ignore this little bounce area that's formed in this range. So it's just something to keep in mind. All right. It's not like that would be a bad setup. You just need to be fully aware of that. You could enter that, get a little bit, and it could bounce you. Still not a bad trade, because obviously if it flushes that level, you got a lot of room down. So, but I am a fan of Meta to the upside as well today. The only downside plays I really have are QQQ and Tesla. Apple's looking pretty weak too. All right, this is some decent profit on this pre-market trade. If you want to trim some right here, about 18 points in profit. If you would like to trim, put your stop at entry, and then you can shoot for 32 points. I would always be concerned when a low volume candle comes into an order block. There's a high probability it starts to reject because it's pre-market candle. That means there's lower volume on this candle, which means it's very possible that those buyers get absorbed in this range and then the seller starts to take control and send this back down. So that's why I'm mentioning it's a good trim spot right here. All right, let's get our brokers ready. Look at NVIDIA, right where it's rejecting. Look at that. Just where we were just talking about. Tesla's coming down for that breakout for the pre-market low as well. All right, and then Meta. Okay. All right, and then I need to do OBS. Okay. All right. Nope, not that. All right, guys. All right. All right, here's the deal. Tesla is it's flushing this level pretty aggressively here now. I'm going to have NVIDIA calls ready, Tesla puts ready, and QQQ calls ready. Obviously, in your pre-market trade, you should be trimming heavily. This is a great win for you pre-market trade folks that took that. I'm going to have Meta ready as well. Meta is too quick to call that out, man. That was too fast on Meta. QQQ calls, guys. I'm in these on QQQ. QQQ 620 calls, NQ longs. Fill on QQQ calls is $1.07 a contract. I want to see these hit $1.25 for my first trim here. Meta, I would trim now on Meta, honestly. There we go. Taking this first trim here on QQQ NQ, everybody. First trim on QQQ NQ. I've sold 75% of my position. 75% of the position, guys, because of this 4-hour key level. I don't want to say it just like yesterday. We can reject this 4-hour key level, okay? So I don't want anyone in here to be getting super greedy and not selling something here. You should be selling something here. My stop is now at entry. My stop is now at entry on this long trade. If you're in the pre-market trade, you're obviously up massive. If you're in the pre-market trade, you are up massive. You guys are heavy in the green today. Meta, keep an eye on your, if you were able to enter. It was way too fast for me to call it out. If I had called out Meta, you would have taken a loss. If I would have called that out, you would have chased it, taken a loss. It would have come back, stopped you out. Okay. Again, we have to get above this 4-hour level. There is a high probability we reject this 4-hour level again, just like yesterday. All right, guys. Pre-market trade at the open. Remember, this pushed up, hit this level, came all the way back down for a big dump. So you have to keep that in mind going into today. Do not let your greed, your ego take over. Use technical analysis, use systematic trading, use real logic, and use appropriate risk management to trade this properly. That is why I am 75% out of my position already. I do not want to leave a lot of open P&L on the table to be subject to a liquidity grab here to where it just swoops back down, wrecks me, and then decides to do whatever the market's going to do the rest of the day. Okay? So keep that in mind. For those that are saying, James, I want 100 points. Well, guess what, bud? Unfortunately, we keep opening 50 points away from 4-hour levels. So it's kind of hard to get those trades. And I'm more bullish to the upside because it's January, right? We're having good momentum, good movement. The long-term charts, when we zoom out, when in doubt, zoom out, long-term is still pointing to the upside. So I have a hard time going for rejections at highs. I have a hard time going for rejections. That would mean I'm going against the trend. Obviously, if I was a fortune teller and I could read ahead of time and be like, oh, well, the market's going to open, it's going to rip, and then it's going to reject that 4-hour level and dump. Yeah, that would be great. But we don't have that hindsight, do we? We're operating in real time, in the real moment. So this is the best I can do is follow the flow. Follow the flow. And the flow is telling me buy. All right, I want you to look at this volume footprint really fast right here on NQQQQ. I know a lot of you guys like this more than order book. Look at the buys down here. Look at the buys. They're pretty aggressive, right? Basically right by our entry. You see that? 153 to 27K. Pretty aggressive on the buy side. So the key thing is we need to hold our entry. Technically, we have to hold our entry. So just something to keep in mind because that volume flip can get nasty real quick. If we give up 619.25, this thing can dump. If you're in Tesla puts, I would be trimming by now. A second time. I would trim a second time because you would have been filled around 470 a contract. Now it's sitting at about 730. I would definitely be trimming here on Tesla. This 440 level is a dangerous spot. Tesla could bounce aggressively here. So if you're in Tesla, I would be majority out of the trade here on Tesla if you decided to take shorts based on the watch list breakout. I would have stop loss at entry, and I would be majority out of Tesla right there. Tesla's up real nice, though. You're almost at 100% profit on Tesla. All right, we're going to get a pretty nasty candle close. Pretty nasty candle close. It's more than likely going to stop us out. We will see. It's going to need some super aggressive buying pressure to buy this back up. I'm bullish if we stay above this order block, guys. So we could get a re-entry if we fail the order block, because obviously we're stopped out at entry now. If we fail the order block, what I'm going to want to see is how we react basically around 612, because that's my last support area. Mm-hmm. See how it's bouncing that aggressively? See how it's bouncing this order block aggressively here? So you can look for a re-entry technically now. You could look for a re-entry. I don't want to re-enter this. I'm 3 trades deep, so I cannot trade again today. I'm 3 trades deep. Do not rely on me to call it out because I'm just not taking another trade again. But that right there is exactly what you want to be seeing for a continuation, for this bounce to keep going. You want to see that immediate snap through, bounced it aggressively, and now you need to see follow through. Same thing as before, though. You need to be cautious of this 4-hour level, okay? You have to be cautious of that 4-hour level. I don't want to sound like I'm yelling. Hopefully it doesn't sound like I'm yelling with you guys. But I cannot stress how important this order block is and this 4-hour level is. I truly cannot stress how important these 2 ranges are, okay? So hopefully, though, on that first trade, hopefully the majority of you were able to fully exit and or majority exit at that 4-hour level. We sat up there for a while. We did sit up there for a while. So you should have been able to trim. It was very friendly today. It wasn't too fast like yesterday to where you could have got wrecked, okay? Same thing with this trade here. Okay, same thing. You want to be trimming the majority now. Same thing. If you took the re-entry that I just signaled for you guys basically at the same spot, same concept, okay? I'm trying to prep you ahead of time. That way you're actually learning how to trade and you're not, relying on me. I'll always be here, obviously, but I want you to be able to execute this like kind of on your own to the point where me calling it out or me going over it, it's just a confirmation in your head. It's not like a, what's the word? I'm here to hold your hand, but I don't want you to feel like I have to hold your hand, I want you to feel like you can let go at any moment and kind of go do your thing. But see how it's doing the exact same thing? That's what you're prepping for. That's what you're getting ready for. Good job. Good job. Tesla, again, majority out here, same kind of concept as this at QQQNQ trade. I would be 75% majority of the position and just go level to level at this point on Tesla. It's almost at 100% here. Obviously, I wasn't able to signal this, but it really depends on your entry. But for me, 860 would be the 100% profit. So it's not quite there. But if you're close to 100%, I would just wait for 100% profit. NVIDIA, I would pass on, heavy pass here, just because of what the market's doing. If the market didn't form a double top rejection like this, I would be pumped for NVIDIA. But right now, NVIDIA is a little too sketchy with the market failing this 4-hour level this aggressively, because this is the second time. Remember, this is the second time. So that more than likely means we're going to actually sell through even further this time. Remember, something we have to be aware of for Tesla is 440 is a very strong level. Okay, NVIDIA is pushing here. If NVIDIA starts to push, the market can definitely recover. So this, honestly, it could be the same entry area. Again, it might actually start to take off, but it really depends what NVIDIA wants to do here. All right. If Tesla holds below 440, guys, this has a ton of room. This has a ton of room on Tesla. If we close pretty strongly here, this is going to start to sell pretty aggressively. Look, Nvidia is rejecting its pre-market high. Remember, unfortunately on NQ, I don't want to go short unless it can actually sell through this order block. Like that, yeah, that does cause a later entry if it does start to sell, but it helps you avoid getting faked out. You know what I mean? Because it's showing signs, obviously, it's showing signs of the rejection up here at the 4-hour level. But obviously, we're not entering up there. We need to be realistic. So remember, as long as we stay above this order block, I'm bullish to the upside. All right. The order block being this green zone, which on QQQ would basically be 619.20 to 619.12. I'm sorry, no, to 618.94, basically right here. I do think it's going to sell through. Yes, I do think it's going to sell through. I think it's super risky if you take an entry up here for shorts. You can, it's just risky. That's all, because there's a high probability we bounce this order block. So I'd rather watch for confirmation below the order block. All right. If you're viewing that as a signal, though, like let's say you're already in shorts, I would definitely be selling some now. But we can be slower with this short entry, right? You don't have to be chasing it necessarily. All right, it is rejecting the zone, mainly because of NVIDIA. All right, check NVIDIA. NVIDIA rejecting that pre-market high. Good hold. If anyone was thinking of taking that red to green breakout on NVIDIA, that the reason why I was, again, telling you to stay away from that was because of this double top 4-hour rejection. This is telling us that double top, whenever I said it, we were about right here, right? So obviously that I saw some people took an entry for that too, for shorts. Good on you guys for doing that. That's very brave. But the main thing that I'm seeing there is the combined failure of the QQQ market, the NASDAQ, combined with NVIDIA at a key rejection spot, doing the same thing, double top rejection, more than likely going to continue selling through. Now, at this 612, this that's where the next heavy volume order block is, way up here at 53 and way up here at the QQQ pre-market high. But heavy buying pressure here, super heavy buying pressure. This is actually very impressive what the market's doing right now. Bouncing my 618.70 level and bouncing that 612. This, remember, was the original entry for longs. What we wanted to do was a bounce of 612. All right, 4 minutes to the candle close. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Super strong. I think a breakout of this 4-hour key level is extremely risky. It's extremely risky. If you're wanting to do something like that, you truly need to be prepped for a stop loss. I'm just letting you know right now, okay? Is there a possibility we can snap through it on this third attempt? Is there a possibility? Because remember, we talked about chipping away at an order block. Yes, there is, but you have to start weighing your risk to reward ratio and weighing your success rate, your odds, okay? So if you're going to take this, it's going through right now. Just letting you know, if you're going to take this, do not take a trade like this and then get super upset if it stops you out. That's all I'm saying, okay? Because a lot of people will enter breakout trades like this, telling themselves like, oh, it's got to work. And then when it doesn't work, they just absolutely lose it, right? They just mentally, they lose it for the day. So that's all I'm saying. A break of a key level is extremely risky like that. I would trim here. This is where I would trim if you took the breakout. This is 20 points profit, 20 points at 92. And I'll draw this out. The next level would be 31 points away. You would have had a 15-point stop loss on this. I would not let that come back to entry. The biggest stop loss I would have on this is 10 points. If you're trying to keep your original stop loss there, because you're hoping for a little bit more and you don't mind sitting through a pullback, I personally wouldn't give it more than 10 points, personally. Really good trade for the pre-market folks off the open, huh? What did you guys get? 65 points? Nice. Let me do this. Look at that 612 bounce, man. God, beautiful. Look at that 1 minute. This is on the 1 minute time frame. That's crazy. For anyone wondering why it might have bounced 612, it's because 615 is a 4-hour level. 615. All right. Now that it's doing this, you should see a move to the next 4-hour level. I would wait for 68 points profit. NVIDIA finally broke through as well. So that could really explain why this is actually working this time. Look at this order block on NQQQQ. Definitely want to be aware of that right here on QQQ. You see my order block I have here? Maybe sell a good chunk of it up here just to be safe, because this is 45 points. So I would sell some up here too. I don't want to ignore this order block here. I have this here for a reason, guys. I know I have it here for a reason. I don't want to ignore that. All right. All right. Good call on that trim, right? Good call on that trim on QQQ and Q. We cannot ignore that order block up there. Tesla's trying to break through this level here. If this snaps through on Tesla, this is going to be an aggressive breakout on Tesla. If it breaks 437.80. All right, market's back to this order block region. With such a small pullback, we should see it go through it this time. Let's see. Strong 5-minute candle close. High probability for a liquidity grab. High probability liquidity sweep. All right. What that looks like, price might reject this range, come back to this 4-hour level on QQQ. It might come back here and then start to push aggressively. Tesla's bouncing this hard. First hard bounce Tesla's had. Didn't say it, but we did trim down here. That was 860 for me. So that was 100% profit on Tesla at the very bottom. Literally at the very bottom. It was 861 a contract. Oh, where is that thing at? There it is. All right, here we go. Close that next trim. All right, boom. This is where I would trim again on QQQ and Q. I would take second or third trim. Could be your second or your third trim. 20, 40, 70. Good trims, okay? Now I would wait for 100 points profit. Hmm. Sorry, let me go over some questions. I was just getting in the zone. I forgot you guys were there for a second. All right. Kelvin Wang. Um, whenever trades like this happen, my game plan is always the breakout of the pre-market low. Okay. So that's something, again, I'm going to prioritize calling out QQQ and NQ. And in the past, when I've called out two trades at once, I get angry messages from people that are very upset and very confused. Okay. So I try to veer away from being like, this is an example, by the way, that what I'm saying right now is an example. I'm not getting into a trade, but I try to veer away from going, oh, I'm in QQQ puts, 330 puts, and I'm in Tesla 330 puts as well. My fill is this, my fill is that. It confuses the majority of people. And all I get, I'm not going to lie, I get hate. I get hate and I don't want to deal with it. So I prefer to just stick to QQQ and NQ. The reason I will always choose the index, if they're both A+ setups, if they're both market open breakouts, and I like them both, the reason I'm going to prioritize those two is because all of you can trade one or the other. A signal on QQQ or NQ means everyone in here can follow along and learn and trade. Unfortunately, if I prioritize Tesla and called out Tesla, then every single person trading futures, I don't think they'll be upset at me, but I do think over time they're going to be like, dude, what the heck, man? Like we need some help here. So, just to let you know, okay. It's not like I'm ignoring this and expecting you to do it on your own every day, but I do have to prioritize this. Okay. But that's why I go over it as much as I can in detail on the watch list and in the pre-market game plan for you. So you can make your decision there. Okay. Nice. Yeah, that's awesome, Brandy. All right. Taylor, it's probably because of your data. I don't know if someone already replied that to you. Yeah, you want to connect your broker or anything that has real-time data or pay for the real-time data through TradingView. All right, let's watch Tesla here. Let's see if this actually snaps through. It should be aggressive. Also want to keep in mind what NQQQQ is doing. It's having a tough time at this 4-hour level here. And thank you, Alyssa. Best name in the group. I do really appreciate you guys that just people that participate. You guys communicate. You guys help each other. I really, really do appreciate that. It means a lot to me when I come on at the end of the night and I go through and read all these messages and I see everything. I do appreciate it. I saw one of our students he was frustrated yesterday, rightfully so. Yesterday was difficult. Andrew, I will say, if you feel like someone's being disrespectful in the group, before you message me, message them. Try to work it out together first, okay? Because if someone's upset because they took a loss, there's a difference between someone being upset and someone being disrespectful. I don't think he was being disrespectful. I think he was just upset. There's a difference, okay? And it's trading. It's day trading. It does get emotional and it does get difficult. So his feelings are valid, right? But I really do appreciate those of you that are trying to help everybody and being optimistic. Being optimistic, it does. It pays. It pays to be optimistic. Sorry, I'm just adjusting this Tesla trade here. All right, it took another trim here at $9.30 a contract on Tesla. One more trim at $9.30. Great trade so far. By the way, on Tesla, whenever you re-input your stop loss and take profit and it tells you, you always want your finger on the enter button. The reason why you always want your finger on the enter button whenever you're adjusting Tesla contracts is because they don't like some of the decimal points that it will choose for a stop loss. So every time you go to enter a new stop loss, it's going to ask you to confirm every single time. It's super annoying. Basically, just have your finger on the enter button. So right when you drop that new stop loss, you just click enter. So because it'll auto go to the closest thing. So it'll say, hey, we cannot put your stop loss at 812. Can we put it at 815? And you have to click enter and hit yes. So if you're trading something like Tesla or Meta, whenever you're adjusting these, it's good to just have your finger on the enter button just in case. On QQQNQ, I would still be waiting. You sat through this nonsense. Just wait till you can see 100 points or 100% profit. This is what I've talked about before with you guys, but notice how Tesla is completely diverging from the market and they're both moving relatively cleanly. Wait, did we just make, no, I was about to say that's an old all-time high. Okay. What was that level? 689. I was going to say there's no way we just made a new all-time high. It would be all over the news. Let me make sure that's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. Just making sure I had that right. Sorry. But we are close to a new all-time high on the S&P 500. That's pretty cool to see. All right. Sorry, I'll go over some more questions here. Okay. No, Fernando. No, I'm not in on this QQQ trade. I had 3 trades already today, my friend. I had the first QQQ breakout. I had Meta, and then I had Tesla. Meta, that was the one I was talking about, and I said, do not chase this. Because when I was going to call it out, I was already over 20% in profit, and it was up here, and I was like, no, I don't want, because I knew if I said I was in these, I knew someone's going to like blindly enter that, and I wanted to avoid that. And as you can see, really glad I did that, right? Because anyone who followed me would have just been stopped out. It's that simple. I would rather you stay cash and just watch. Okay. I'm trying to read Talon's thing here. Took the breakout at 25,671 on NQ. Let's go down there. Are you? Okay, I'm assuming you mean this. If you guys are asking me for something like this, try to give me the time. Try to give me the time so I know. But I'm assuming this is what you meant because that's what I was talking about. Took about 5 seconds to get filled, which is unacceptable, by the way. That's ridiculous. Was trying to adjust my stop loss and top step randomly flattened my position at negative 100. Always seems to happen on the best trades because it seems to mess up with high volume. Anyone else on Top Step having this issue? Any other prop firms take this trade and have it go smoothly? Top Step likes to mess it up a lot. Talon, this is kind of like in the very beginning of trading whenever people were asking me about prop firms and I mentioned how much I just didn't like Top Step. I am not going to be a hater. There are a lot of people that make money with Top Step. That's true. Just like there's a lot of people that make money with Apex and a lot of people that make money with Take Profit. It's all about what prop firm works best for you, though. That's what I'm a big fan of. So I don't care what prop firm you use personally. Obviously, when you use Apex or Take Profit, those coupon codes, obviously they help support everything here. But again, I don't need your $4. I want you to use what you enjoy using. If Top Step is causing you frustration, I would email them about this because that is pretty frustrating. This is a pretty big trade. It's at 100 points now, by the way. I would trim for everybody in this trade here. This is 100 points profit from the breakout. I would email them about that, Talon, for sure. Just to get some reference. Guys, it's a big benefit, guys. If anyone wants to, there's a lot of students that do it already, but screen record your trading. Screen record it. It helps with prop firms if they try to deny payouts. It does help because you can literally show them a recording of your trade. If you're wondering how to record your trade, just go on Google OBS. It's called OBS. That is what I use in conjunction with Zoom to record all of my trades. It's a really good software. If you ever plan to get good at trading volume, reading order book level 2, time and sales, volume footprint charts, It also helps to screen record your charts because then you can go back and literally back test in real time instead of the nonsense you see people post on social media. In real time, you could go back and be like, all right, let me see what volume was doing at this 4-hour level. Why was James cautioning us so much at this 4-hour level? What was he concerned about? Oh, okay, I see selling orders kicking in down there. That's why the market started to move down. So now you know, boom, that's what I need to look for. And then down here, oh, okay, at 612, I was planning to go long because I didn't enter a single trade, and that was James's breakout level off the open. And he did say, if we open above that, he will look for a bounce at 612 to get into calls. All right, let me go back to my recording and watch what did the market do on the order book level 2 and time and sales at 612. Why did it bounce that level so aggressively? All right, I've recorded it today. Right? Yeah, I've recorded it today, so I'm going to upload more of that in the bootcamp today. Basically, the laptop is recording my voice, so you'll hear me from the laptop, but you'll be able to watch the order book combined with my call outs. So you'll be able to be like, oh, that's why he was calling that out. Look, it was showing that on order book level 2. So yes, Ryan, I would be majority out of your QQQ position by now. Yes. Same thing with Tesla. Tesla, we've come down again. You can see how Tesla is really just respecting my levels on Tesla, guys. It's just coming down, and any level it bounces my level. I mean, earlier we saw it hit 440, had a little bounce. Came down, hit 437.70, had a little bounce. Came down, now it's hit 435.70, now it's having a little bounce, right? So, I will be completely stopped out of Tesla. Otherwise, I'm just going to sell at each consecutive level that I have below, okay? So, I will just send a screenshot of this quadrant right here, since these are the only important things. All right. Obviously, no one's in meta. So, well, meta calls at least. All right. All right, guys. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful trading day. Everything. All right. Okay. It's good trading today. Already have the majority of the people left, but finally a good day in the market, good clean setups. People enjoyed it. Good education today as well. Good risk management, the whole nine. Cool. Yeah, I'm expecting the rest of the week to look like today. I'm expecting the rest of the week to move pretty cleanly and give us some good direction. Okay. So I'm honestly kind of surprised how Monday played out. As you can see, we really didn't get any movement yesterday. So I am expecting the rest of the week to get us some movement. I'm hoping this is the start of that movement. I'm hoping this is the start of a nice move to the upside, and we can see some nice trend continuation going. The ideal setup for the week, guys, is opening outside of the previous day's range. That's your best bet. So the previous day's range is here. We want to open above or open below. If we can get those two things, we're golden. That's exactly what we want to see. All right, everybody. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. All right. Peace out, everybody.